I mean, it's still a possibility that this falls apart.
This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Chrissy Campbell.
And I'm Melinda Smith.
Are you sure?
New joiners. I was going somewhere with it, like if you've never listened to the podcast, here's my full name. But when you go to say your name and you're thinking about something else, then it sounds like you don't know your name.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Who am I today?
Hi.
Well, hello. We've not exactly
Friend.
gotten back on a regular schedule, but that's okay.
I know. I mean to. The road to hell was paved with good intentions. Isn't that how the saying goes?
That is correct. So one thing that I learned is if you can't go to Dreamforce and you don't want to have FOMO, then you should plan a launch of something during the week of Dreamforce. And then you're still working 10 to 12 hour days, but with less drinking and walking. But I just kind of was doing other stuff. So I'm excited to hear maybe some of your highlights.
Is this the first one you've missed in a while?
Yeah. Since I started going back
to the world.
When I first went for 2 years, and then I had like 3 or 4 years off, and then I went back every year for like 4. I don't remember. Time flies when you're having fun.
I did the bare minimum this year intentionally. I spoke a lot last year, so that kind of was a little bit of a fun suck because I was nervous a lot. And then this year, I just didn't want to be just so wiped out. So last year was the first year that Pep Up Tech did their event at the beginning of the week instead of the end. And, we had gone to dinner and then we went to the event, and I drank too much, and it kind of killed me for the week in addition to speaking. So I was like, I don't want to do that this week. I didn't want to do it this time and feel like doo-doo.
Yeah.
So I made a conscious effort to sign up for less. I did sign up to do the Circles of Success, but they never got back to me. I guess whatever subjects I said I could speak on, they were good on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I offered to work the career fair for Arcus with a couple of colleagues. But other than that, it's like I went to events that were supporting friends, or this was the first year that I got to meet clients in person. So this is my third year being a consultant. So I got to actually meet them and hang out with them and take them to dinner. So they were my focus and the career fair the first 2 days. And I was in bed by like 9:30, 10. I was a good kid. And then was that Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I did the equality event, the Quip concert with Janelle Monáe, then met up with some friends at Jasper's, and then definitely was like, I gotta lay down. I gotta go to bed. And I fell asleep in my dress. I like how I say fell asleep. I mean, we know what happened. We know how that really went down. And then Friday, same thing. I just kind of chilled back, got a massage at this place that's like right off Market. I'm like, how have I not been doing this the whole time? Like it was so clutch on being able to feel like you could be up and about and do like the cigar party. But I don't know, part of me, it was like, you're not doing enough, and you're not, signing up to me enough, and you're not hanging out at Moscone enough. And it was such a far swing from get up, get ready at 7 a.m., leave the hotel and just be doing the things. Yeah. And even though I got up pretty early, I missed the stupid fun run, which I was actually excited about to go run with colleagues because I set my alarm for an hour too late. And I was like, oh, I'm doing so good on time. And I was like, it started half an hour ago. Okay. Well, that's not going to happen. Like the one time in all these years, well, not the one time, but that I don't feel like doo-doo, but
you had the best chance.
Yeah, right. Of course it was great. I enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy seeing people. The keynotes were great. Some friends got to be awarded with golden hoodies and the ability to intro a keynote. Like I said, I got to hang out with a client. I got to hang out with my colleagues and owners of the company, and it was good. Oh, and I got to go to the Arcus party, which was super fun.
There you go.
We have a live band, and like we do it up. I was having a great time, and then 10 o'clock rolled around, and I was like, I'm
I
so tired.
yeah.
I'm so
And there's the
tired.
wall.
Yeah, I did the MVP party and then that for a little bit, and I was like sitting. I danced and hung out for a bit, had a drink, and then I sat down and I thought,
Mm.
well, that was a poor idea. I should have stayed standing
Once you're down, you're
because I
down.
definitely did the like look over my shoulder, look over both shoulders. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave.
Mm,
So yeah, I smoke bombed.
I like it. I think have you read about like the Irish goodbye is more considerate,
Mhm.
right? Like, it doesn't have to be all
It's more
about you.
considerate or
Yeah, it's
consistent.
considerate. Like
Oh.
it because if you think about it, it's like, I'm gonna interrupt this party. I don't know if you're having fun or not, but I'm gonna leave. So if you could just make a big deal of it and say goodbye to me right now, thanks, bye. I'm gonna leave. Like, just kind of.
The reason I always do it is because I'm a joiner. So if I tell
Mm,
you I'm going to go and you say don't, I will say okay.
right. Yeah. That's but so literally I read an article about now I'll probably have to pretend to find it, but like, your arrival should be the thing that you make a big deal out of and not your departure.
I have entered the
Right?
room.
Let's get this party started. Um Yeah, it's an interesting, like, I don't I mean, don't tell my boss I wanna go in the future, but, like, I'm kind of okay that I didn't go to Dreamforce this year. I just like, work's been a lot, and I went to Trailhead X, and I feel like I got more benefit out of that. I mean, again, I'm in a good position in that my manager understands the value of going to these events in general, um,
Totally.
but I think, we ended up going to the tower the week before or 2 weeks before for a community cloud advisory board, which just made more sense,
Hmm.
from a networking perspective, and
Totally. Yeah.
so and of course from a cost perspective, right? So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah. I wasn't sure how to phrase it. Like part of me was like, you didn't do enough. The other part of me was like, but I also don't feel stretched thin and so tired I want to cry. Cause that's kind of my
hmm
go-to. If I'm super tired, I'm like an egg without a shell. I I'm fragile and I want to cry. So we were my in our Arcus channel, we were sharing uh like two things or what I loved about Dreamforce this year. And one of my colleagues said, if it wasn't connecting with colleagues or friends, I didn't do it. And I was like, yes, exactly that. Like I
mm,
went to support friends at certain things. I showed up for events that were important to people. And the only commitment I made to myself was I really wanted to go to the equality party and the Quip event. So I made
hmm
myself do that, even though like, that was the thing, like, I stood in line for 40 minutes to get into the equality party, really none for the Quip event, but that one was also really close to the hotel. I think if it hadn't been, I may have been like, "Ugh," I don't know. I missed Dreamfest even though I would have loved to see Fleetwood Mac, but I offered to take them to dinner Thursday night, and she says, "Oh, that'd be so awesome, I'd love to connect," even though we had meetings throughout the week anyways. She said,
yeah.
"But we're leaving Thursday, can we do it Wednesday?" And I was like, yeah, sure. So I committed to it, and then I realized that I didn't even ask her. And I said, "Oh my goodness, did you wanna go to the concert?" I was like, "I'll buy you hot dogs." And I was like, "It didn't even occur to me that you might wanna go too." And she said, "Oh, no, it's just it was" she's like, "It's too late, it's too much, but it was a beautiful evening for it, would've been lovely." But,
Yeah.
I'm also okay with the choices I made. I got to connect with colleagues and clients and friends, and I didn't come home feeling like a bag of shit. Like, I felt
Well,
I was
and that
fine.
you, even when you're in situations like you say, you're going to an event to support a friend or you're going to someone's session, I think you still end up meeting new people and having
Mhm.
those conversations. So I think you still find those opportunities just in the places you already wanted to go or needed to
Yeah.
go. Um,
I got to the airport at the normal reasonable time, but because I'm TSA and clear, it took me 4 minutes to get through security. It was a goddamn dream. It was the whole reason I got the 2 was for this event, and it's life-changing. So I
yeah,
sat at the bar longer than I needed to, but then I ended up talking to this new awesome admin, and we were chatting about this, and I shouted her out to Twitter, and she was like, "Oh,
that's hilarious.
oh, you have a do you know so and so? Do you know some people in the community?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know a few." I mean,
I know
what are
a
we gonna be like?
few.
Oh, ugh." But she it was like her first event, and she's a solo admin. She's like, "I'm realizing I needed some more support," and even that conversation was really it was awesome. Like sometimes it's so good to talk to fresh new people. And the career event was like that. We got to talk to a lot of new Pep Up Tech alum. And I took on a new mentee, and her name is Yvette. And shout out to Yvette if she's listening. She's amazing. And like if you ever are having a moment where you're thinking, man, I've been doing this for a long time and yeah, I like it, but whatevs, just go spend time with new admins, new Pep Up Tech alums, anything like that, and you'll see and like have that new re-energized feeling.
I think that's definitely I think you see that at user groups too, right? When it's people's
Oh
first
yeah.
user group and you're like, "Oh, have you done this? Can you do this? Do you know this person?" Um, so yeah, that definitely or someone's first Salesforce Saturday and you're like, "What are you working on? How do you like it? How can I help you?"
I tell this story all the time. I'm gonna tell it again because that's what I do. And if you're listening, you know that's who I am. My first user group, I was so confused. It was at the Conga offices in not Boulder, but close to Boulder. And it was when Brent Downey ran the group. So I'm in this huge room, and there's Brent Downey and Conga representatives, and we're talking about Salesforce. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Is this Conga sponsored? Is this Salesforce sponsored? Why does everyone seem to know what's happening? And I have no idea what's going on. I just didn't get it. I didn't understand the dynamic. I didn't understand
Right.
any of it. And I try and remember that when, you have a new client that doesn't understand anything, or like you said, go into a new user group and someone's like, what's happening? I'm like, oh, I've been
Yeah,
there.
we've Jackie's been doing a great job with getting the word out there, and I feel like every user group recently we've had new people, and she makes little welcome packs for them because she's a legit
Stop
adult
it.
human. Yeah, she's the best.
Oh my God,
It's got
that's
like a pen and
amazing.
some stickers in it or something, and like the information about when we meet and maybe something else. I don't know.
That is a really great idea.
Yeah, just in those like little Ziplocs, you know, the
I mean, I know
snack
little
size.
Ziplocs. Oh, snack size. Yep, yep, yep. That's not what you meant. Not button
Snack
size.
size. No, not like your size of your thumb.
I mean, whatever.
So you did the Dreamforcing. What else has been
Did the
going on?
Dreamforcing. Prior to that, I went and saw my mama. So I was having one of those moments where I'm like, I need to see my grandma. She is 82. She lives in Bullhead City, Arizona, which is just like 3 hours out of Scottsdale, where my mom is. And she has fused discs and she can't really travel, but she like runs her own business. She's a seamstress, but she is, well, I'm like her in the sense that she'll be, I'm fine, I'm fine, but she's not fine. And it hurts her to sit
Mm.
that long or to fly. So she wasn't able to come to Christmas last year. And I was telling my mom, I travel all the time. I go anywhere I want, when I want, usually. And I'm not seeing my grandma. And she's important to me. So I was like, I want to
Hmm.
see her. And my mom said, well, if anything were to happen, I would have to drive out there. It'd be easier than flying. Why don't you come out here? We'll drive together. And at least then I kind of know the lay of the land. And I was like, that's easy. I was like 3 hours in the car. I was like, that's cake. Or it was like 3:30 or something. I'm like, that's easy. So flew to Scottsdale, spent an evening with my mom. We had lunch. We went shopping. We had far too much fun. We sat up and drank bourbon and talked. And it always amazes me that, ooh, am I getting verklempt? Oh, I am getting a little emotional that all these years that I still have something new to talk about with my mama. Like we can sit just and like talk and talk and talk, and it's
Hmm.
awesome. So then we drove out there and then spent 2 nights with my grandma in Bullhead City. And if you've never been, I mean, it's across the river from Laughlin. Woo! Let me tell you, it is
Yeah.
happening out there. I mean, it's a retirement area, so I mean, what do you expect? But we hung out with her. We took her on this little river boat cruise up the Laughlin River, sure,
Sure. Yeah.
and it had like one of those like you pick the meal. They brought it out. It was great. Like the food was great. Um, the
Is
smell
she
of the
a
boat
gambler?
wasn't so great, huh?
Is she a
Hello?
gambler?
Yeah, so we did hit the casinos a little bit. Mom gave us like mad money, $100. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I played like 20 of it. I lost $20 as fast as I possibly could. And I was like,
Hmm.
I don't want to lose money anymore. My grandma, of course, hits the slot machine, wins $180. And I was like, this is amazing. And, it's the fancy casino that has the Outback Steakhouse in it. I was like, hey, can we get a snack? I'm hungry. So we stopped gambling, went and got a snack, take her on the riverboat, and my grandma wants to hang, and my mom and I are drinkers, and we try and slow down a little bit because she wants to try and keep up.
Mm,
And there's this like top, it's like one of those little, like almost like a mini pedal boat's not the right word. Just like little flat boat. You know what I mean? Like flat
like
and flat and
a pontoon?
yeah, like a two-level pontoon. So I go to take her upstairs, but it's dark. And we go up, we take some pictures, and then we come down, and she just misses the last step. And I have her arm, and she doesn't go down hard. She just kind of goes down slowly
Mm,
and like kind of bonks her head a little on the plastic. And mom was like, "We shouldn't have gone down there." I was like, "She's fine. She's got it. She's fine." And she was fine. She go down
yeah.
hard. I had a hold of her arm, but still, I'm like, "I'm sorry." That was my suggestion. And then the next morning, she said that uh, she's like, I have a knot on my head. She's like, but I don't know if it's from the boat or at one point in time in the night, I got up to pee and then I woke up on the floor. She's like, I may have hit my head. And I was like, wait, what?
What?
I
This
was,
has happened?
I was like, what is this? What do you mean? And she was like, yeah, I got up to pee and I just, and then I was on the floor and then, I crawled and got to bed. And she's like, as long as I can get up and get up from a hands and knees position, I am fine. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, this is a woman that
I mean,
raised a
like,
child on her own in the 50s. So she was like, I don't need anyone. I don't need shit. I can do this on my own. But I'm
unexplained
like, you're
bruises are one thing,
82.
but yeah, like contusions.
I was like, oh my gosh. So that was the second night. But the first night we had a bunch of fun because we went to dinner, came back, and we played dominoes and sat and drank wine and then like family dished, talked about, stuff that we know before I was born and like fun stories. And, my grandma had kind of a, a string of, shitty men in her life, including my mom's dad. And then she just directed all of her attention to my mom. And my mom was like, picture a wet cat trying to get out of someone's arms. She's like, I just couldn't move away fast enough at 19. I mean, it was just lovely. It was just such a like a bonding great trip. And then mom and I drove home and then I took her to her birthday dinner um on the 5th and then I flew home the next day and like I went home and just like
How wonderful.
yeah, just full of like good vibes and feels about my family and I mean it's not like you need that. I love them and all the time, but I feel like I'm like I need to spend more time with my grandma,
Yeah, there's
even though
always,
she
I
is
mean, there's always that guilt, I
yeah.
guess. You could be spending more time with your family. Well, my brother was
Yeah.
here for Thanksgiving and for just because he came for like a week and a half, which was nice. I mean, it's fun. I mean, he's on vacation, whereas I mean, over Thanksgiving, you're on vacation, but then I like had to go back to work and he wanted to still play.
Hang out.
But yeah, it was good. It was an excuse to try a new place I've been wanting to go. We played duck pin
Ooh.
bowling,
Ooh.
and it's one of
Wait,
those
duck
places.
pin?
Yeah, so it's also called Candlepin. It's a thing in New England, although
That
this
doesn't
was a little
clarify for
different.
me.
Oh, so duck pin, like legit duck pin, legit candlepin bowling it's like a skee ball size ball, and then the pins are plastic and they're skinny and tall. But other than that, it's pretty much the same as big ball bowling. This is interesting. It's skee ball size balls, but the pins are like miniature versions of big ball bowling pins, so they're like fatter on the bottom still, but they're on strings with like a rubber thing around them. So when you
Oh,
knock them
yeah,
over,
yeah.
they like suck. It's like an octopus. They like suck back up, and then it puts the ones down that you didn't knock over. So that way, it's like not a full resetting of the thing. I don't know. It was fun, and it's one of those places where you put the. I don't know if you have these everywhere, but you put your credit card down and you put the bracelet on, and then you pour your own beer or wine or whatever. You like put it up to the machine, and it
Huh.
unlocks it, and then you pour your own at the tap, and it tracks how much you're drinking, so you can only pour
That's
yourself so much in a
brilliant.
certain period of time. It's kind of funny because so if I'm
Will
going to
it
a
cut you
place,
off?
yeah,
Oh, that's
like
annoying.
Brad and I got cut off, but we just had to go up to the guy and he reset it. Like
Oh.
they just have to make sure you're not a total moron. But like it's not like regular servers, right? Like they're refreshing kegs, they're doing dishes, they're making sure it's clean, whatever. So when you leave, you can either drop your bracelet and they'll just add 15% gratuity, or you can stand in line and you can like change what you tip. But
Hmm.
it's interesting to me. Like I don't mind tipping less than 20% because I feel like you're doing less.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, nobody's bringing you anything really.
But they're still doing stuff, you know. So like I don't feel bad.
Totally. No, I agree.
I'm not the person who's like, I did all the work. Like, no, you didn't. Calm down. Someone's still restocking the bathroom and sweeping the floor and cleaning the glasses. You know, just hush. But
Just hush.
anyway, so yeah, that was there's a few places like that around here that are, you know, it's nice because then you can just try a little bit of something, or like I had a little bit of multiple sours,
Mm.
and you don't feel as bad about like, can I have a sample?
Hmm.
So
Can I try that other one again? No,
I
god
know,
damn it,
right?
order a beer.
I know. I have other things to do. So yeah, it was good to, and
That's
we
fun.
went
When
back
did he
to
leave?
the he left yesterday.
Nice.
So yeah, it was like a little over a week. It was nice. He got to meet my boyfriend. It's interesting here. Here's a fun deaf kid fact that I hadn't thought about. So for anyone who doesn't have the background, my family has a myriad of genetic diseases, and my brother had a brain aneurysm rupture when I was in college, and so he went deaf. He's older than me. He's about to turn 40. What? Um,
Careful, I'm 42.
and well, yeah, but like you're not related to me, okay? Um,
It's fair.
so he made an interesting point. So he met Brad and he was like, I'm going to have a dream at some point where we will talk and I will hear you. And like, what voice is that? Like he met my ex-husband plenty of times
I literally got chills.
over 10 years and he's like, I've talked to him in my dreams, but I've never heard him speak. Is that interesting?
What?
Right? It's kind of crazy. It's a really interesting. He also gets songs stuck in his head sometimes, which is just crazy to think like you can't hear something else to stop get the earworm out of your mind, you know. But
That's so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's really he's late deafened, so he speaks normally. Well, sometimes too loud, but or too softly. But that's another thing. Like when you're at home and it's quiet, he's real loud. But when he's out in public, he like moderates and he's almost too quiet.
Right.
But you don't want to tell him like because then he like overcompensates and yells. That's fine. But
So how did
yeah,
he
it's an
adjust then? So does he read braille, sign, read lips, all of the above? Like how did he deal with that? Like that's an adjustment. Is wow.
yeah, it's an interesting. We were just talking about this actually. So we've all taken sign language classes, but if you don't use it, you lose it. So a lot of what
Mm.
we do, we call CSL, like Campbell Sign Language. So it's like half ASL and half charades. Um, But my parents live out kind of in the sticks, and so he doesn't get as much social interaction with like not family people. So he reads lips pretty well. Um, the nice thing is now with technology, like he like my ex husband would take him out and just use his phone and like talk to text and show it to him. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and now he's got a live transcribe app that my dad found which was helpful, but it's an adjustment that you have to like be reading it to be part of the conversation in real time.
Yeah.
So, you know, we kind of had to like point at it to be like read what we just said, you know, but I mean, once upon a time we were taking like a notebook around with us to restaurants and stuff. So, it's an interesting it's an interesting mix just because of the scenario and like I say where my parents live and just other medical nonsense with my family and so um I'd like to help him start meeting more people again and because he's really funny. It's tough because he spends so much time in his own head, you know, like I think it's easy to
Mhm.
just be, you know, imposter syndrome times 1,000. So, um yeah,
I'm just fascinated by I will talk to him in my dreams
right?
and getting a song stuck in his head. Just is I'm fascinated by that. That's interesting.
What's funny is his favorite band was Rage Against the Machine. And so like that level of kind of music and he'll look at my mom and be like, I have a Garth Brooks song stuck in my head or like dirty dancing songs, like the stuff my mom listened to. So,
No.
yeah, so that was
Yeah,
really fun
the
to have him. And I
time
mean, for
of
him, it's
my
vacation. So he's,
life.
you know, partying.
Yes. Well, family's the best. even though they're also not. Oh, I dropped the mic. Sorry, y'all. Let me just tell you for a hot second. Not a bad thing, but this was the first Thanksgiving I hosted because we usually go to Arizona to see my mama, but family, we decided not to do holiday vacations. They're just so expensive. And that week was so snowy that like truly we wouldn't have gotten out anyways.
Okay.
So I was gonna cook. I was like, it's my first Thanksgiving to host. I'll cook. I'll do all the things. And both my mom
Ooh.
and my mother-in-law were like, why? Just order cooked food from Whole Foods. No, no, no. I want to cook. I gotta do the thing. They're like, but all right, do it. And then I thought about it. And then I did the cost analysis, and there's not really a ton of difference.
Hmm.
And so I said, okay, screw it. So I did. I bought cooked food from Whole Foods. You just
Okay.
warm it up. My brother in law smoked a turkey,
Okay.
and people brought food. Of course, there was plenty of food, plenty of alcohol. The house was full of 17 people. It was delightful. So when the conversations first started, my sister, my little sister, little half sister, she's 24.
Mm-hmm.
She said that her and her husband were going to go to his family's, with the baby. They usually do something a little formal. And I was like, great. Why don't you come before or after? After would be great, that we could hang out. And then she said later in a text, can his parents stop by? Of course, anybody can
Sure.
stop by.
Bring it.
So the day of, an hour or two before people are supposed to be here, I asked my dad. I was like, "Hey, is Chris bringing the turkey soon? Are they going to come a little bit later?" He's like, "Yep, they're on their way." And I was like, "Oh, awesome! Are they done with his family?" And he's like, "No, they're coming." He's like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, no. Chris is bringing his parents and his brother.
To
Oh,
to eat
to
here?
to Thanksgiving. Oh, to eat to all, three whole human bodies to eat here. Oh, okay.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
And
Cool. Cool.
cool, 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 cool. Yeah, no, it's fine. Totally fine. Tyler, it's totally fine. And of course, there was enough food and it was fine. But I was like literally down to my last plate because I didn't get plasticware or paper plates because
Right.
I had enough. I planned for 8 solid people with about 12 rotating in and out, or four rotating in and out. No, I had 17 solid the entire time. It
That's
was awesome.
hilarious.
We had a great time. But for a first time hostess of the
It's a lot.
Thanksgivings, to say I have 3 humans coming, I was like, what?
Hell?
I'm not ready for that.
To be fair, at least
Please
I brought the
rewind.
turkey, so that gets you credit for things.
This is true.
Because a lot of
This is true.
the logistics that are annoying is literally the oven time. Just the
Mm,
coordinating of like to get everything hot at the same time. You don't fully appreciate that show pulling that shit
oh,
off until you host.
oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like because then someone shows up and they're like, "Can I just pop this in the oven?" And you're like, "No, there's a schedule. I wrote it on a post-it.
Are
Like
you
I
on the list?
planned this out.
You're not on the list.
Get out."
Get out.
You said you were bringing a dessert that does not look like apple pie. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I had the joyous occasion to go to someone's house who did all the things, and
Ooh.
I brought. Have you experienced cream cheese and hot pepper jelly on crackers?
Back in the day, yes, and it's delightful.
It is delightful. I feel like it's very southern. It didn't get a whole lot of play, but they
Oh,
tried.
the hot and the creamy? That's like jalapeno poppers.
It was real good.
Yeah.
Well, because I was at this store the other day and it was easy to find, is why I was like, yes, that's what I'm bringing. Because sometimes I'm like, I want to bring it and then I can't find it. I had gone to like 3 Trader Joe's in one day to try and find hot pepper jelly. So,
Jose's.
um, and then we had deviled eggs. So it's so funny. She's trying to pawn all the. This is Brad's mom. She's trying to pawn all the leftovers off on people. And so we're taking ham and we're taking whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'll take the deviled eggs. And she was like, oh. I was like, I don't have to. I was just being nice. She's like, I'll just keep one for me. I'm like, you can keep them. It's fine. And then what's funny is Brad came over and
Don't
ended up eating
don't
them
be
at my
sad.
house.
I won't take the
I know.
eggs.
I'm
Oh
like
no.
already because in the
Fuck.
beginning, I just thought it
This
was
is true.
funny. I think it's funny this teeter totter of like no I don't need to take anything like no and then they're like yes and you're like okay then I'll take all of it like
Yeah.
it flips to the other side but
Like, we'll take the deviled eggs. Oh.
yeah okay
Oh. Um, if it isn't evident to some people, and you probably won't be, because I am a master editor. No, I'm not. We've had some technical issues. So if it seems like Wait, what the is that? I'm confused. You're right. You're not confused. We've moved rooms, changed Wi-Fi channels, and switched clothes.
Sometimes we work in the cloud so much, we just assume things are gonna work, and the
Yeah,
technology is not in our favor.
this is true. So, two things. It's that time of year. It's a possibility we won't record again because fucking life and everything. Then
'Cause
2020 is around
fucking
the corner.
Mhm. We can't both drink at the
You know, I'm
same
not.
time, that's not how that works.
It's true. Pregnant pause. I am not a huge fan, as everyone knows or should know, of like quote unquote resolutions, but I do
Mhm.
like goals.
Hmm.
And I was having a moment this week, as one does, talking to Josh and my mom about a couple things. One, it dawned on me that I don't have a mentor. And not that that's bad. I just
Mhm.
kind of was like, oh, wow, it's been a while. And I thought about, a couple people that could be. And I was like, I don't know. And I have been a mentor to others, which I really enjoy. I enjoy helping and guiding and in whatever respect I can. So I reached out to my mom and I was like, I don't have a mentor. And she's like, well, eventually at some point in time, you become the mentor. And I was like, really? Like, is that like just an age thing? Or like,
Like,
so
you
I
can
talked to
have
Amy about
both.
it. Yeah, I agree. And I said, may I just someone above me? And she's like, well, it doesn't have to be someone above you. And I was like, no, you're right. I just, ever since I came into um,
Consulting?
this career,
Mm.
I have lost my mentor. Now, she gets it enough that I could probably reach out and be like, let's dish about work in general. Like, you work in corporate, you work in any kind of profession, you get it to a degree.
Mhm.
But, and maybe that's what I need to do. But I thought it was interesting that I was like, I thought, I don't have that. I think probably because, I have you and I have my friends and I have Josh and stuff, but that's it's different that this person that you would maybe seek guidance from.
Mhm.
That and I am a little goalless. Um,
Mm.
I talked to Jason at Dreamforce that I'm very happy with Arcus and I'm very content. And it's a weird, and we've talked about it before. It's weird. Like just being
It
content is
feels
a very
so
uncomfortable place for me. Like I'm not used to that. Like what's the goal? What's the next step? What's the thing? So being just happy is just weird.
It's
Let's
funny
get
because
real.
I've viscerally remember having a job where it was a new job and I gotta design processes and I gotta, blah,
Ooh.
blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, now what? And they're like,
Uh-huh.
now you do that every day. Like now you do the job. And I was like, oh, like that's not really what I wanted. But I didn't know at the time. So I definitely get that. I think I'm in a similar place. Like I don't need a new job. I don't feel like I need to strive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't
I mean,
mean
there's
you
something to be
can't.
said to be like being happy, but you're right. And that doesn't mean you don't have a goal. So I was like, what is it? Just what? What is it I want to do? Do I want to have a goal where I create more jewelry next year or I learn to code or I teach yoga or I just have to have something. I
Okay.
just can't be rudderless like that. So I'm
Hmm.
like, all right, well, what is it? What do I want to do? And I was bullshitting with Stacy Coxwell and I don't even know how it came up. Maybe I just asked her what she was searching or going for. And she's like, I think I want to be an application architect. And I was like, oh, what's that? So it's part of the triangle of
Mm-hmm.
the Salesforce architect. It's a piece of it.
Certified technical
And I
architect
was like, yeah.
is the whole
So it's
triangle.
like
Sorry.
a correct. So there's a piece of it. And I thought, well, that's a good goal. But right now I'm still struggling to take my NPSB certification because even though I've been kind of dabbling in it for a year, it's just really involved and I don't feel confident at it. So I'm, of course, putting off studying, which is the exact opposite of what you should do when you don't feel confident. You should study more instead of
Hmm.
avoiding it. But
Nah.
that's what people with our mental issues do. Um, anyways, so I think I'm trying to lay out goals. So the rambling part of this conversation was, have you thought about goals? How are you considering them? Obviously, I don't like to call them resolutions because it sounds restrictful. And if you have a goal and you reach it or you don't, you can amend a goal or you can get rid of it or you can move it out.
Hmm.
And I don't really have, I like the application architect. I think I wanted a creative goal I don't know what that means. Maybe a painting class, or maybe spend some more time in my photography, something creating something tactical like that. So, yeah, I like to lead a conversation where I don't really have parts of the conversation, but you're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it specifically until I saw this kind of topic list.
You're
I
welcome.
mean, I know Brad's moving in Q1, so they're definitely I
What's your
need.
SLA on this?
Did I tell you? Did I tell you he had a
Yes.
yeah, he had a honeydew list, and I was like, I literally was thinking about how I could like make him a ticket, and then I'd be just like, what was your SLA on my installing my Nest for me? My new smart thermostat.
Mm.
Because I got a rebate from Duke Energy from getting it through them. So it was only $85. Anyway, that sounded so first world problems. It was only $85. And now I can have a smart thermostat with geofencing. Um, so I definitely have some curate my physical possessions goals. And I
Mm.
think that'll be, obviously, I think we'll get along really well. I think it's going to be fine, but it's certainly a period of adjustment, right? So, having some grace for that. I think, um, I, I think it'll be interesting to, you may recall when I got separated, I kind of had a year of like figuring myself out and like not shooting on myself. Um,
Mhm.
but I think I need to pivot a little bit toward um now like I kind of get it. I kind of get why I choose not to do things that are potentially easy and I could just get them done and instead I worry about them for a year. That kind of like the ADD things that I'm learning. I think it's like a call to action phase of like, okay, so now I know this about myself. How do I make better habits and how do I ask for what I need and like figuring out how to optimize my ADD life.
Mhm.
Um, Basically, I feel like I was talking to my therapist and I was like, so do other people have these problems? And she's like, yeah, like, yes. But then, like, so, like, what's next? Like, okay, you've acknowledged this is a thing. We've acknowledged that this is what you do. Like, now what? Now it's like actionable, which is part of what's hard with ADD. So, um,
Yep.
yeah, so I think that'll be kind of I don't know if that means trying medication again.
I know I'm toying with that too.
Well, the ones I've tried have just made me feel really cracked out. I think my challenge, actually this is funny because a friend of mine just got a CPAP and was like, "I feel 100% different." Very black and white. And I feel like so many things that I have or that I do, it's like shades of gray, right? And I want that different feeling. Like I want that
Yeah.
if I do it, I feel this. If I don't, then I feel that. But with medication and honestly with my CPAP, right? And with um, some other it's like, did I do more today than I would have if I hadn't blah, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, maybe, did I get back to a task sooner when I was distracted? It's like, like
Yeah.
probably, so it's just not as much of a, it would just be easier if it was more black to white instead of like
Yeah.
light gray to medium gray. But that's
Keeping
no
a
reason.
journal of how you felt today.
I just, and I think I've had good intentions with things and I just haven't, I know how I could be better and I don't do the things to be better
Well, I mean, that comes
many a
with
time.
ADD and ADHD.
Well, sure. But like, I
I
can't
mean,
keep saying that forever.
true. I
Like
mean, I get
it's a catch 22, right? So I guess
you. And just
maybe this
acknowledge it and be like,
maybe
I have this
2020
thing.
is my catch 22
Yeah.
year, right? Like, and it's, yeah,
And
even
take
if,
out the zeros, it is.
um, so
Courtesy laugh. I love it.
I like it. It's real nerdy. So yeah, that's I haven't really thought about goals, but I think, and we've talked about before, I think like if anything, like trying to develop a habit over a quarter, right? Like not a lot of things at the same time,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
not
yeah.
a lot of
We've
things at
talked
the
about
beginning of
that.
the year, you know. Um, but
So before we go,
yeah, what you
go
got?
on.
No, I was gonna go
I
with your last
have,
topic, but I'm intrigued.
yes, this is the last topic because I have been presented with an interesting thought process about a week ago, I would say. A former colleague friend, eh, colleague, no friend, colleague friend, I don't know, colleague acquaintance, got
33%
to chat.
friend, 66% colleague.
Where's the other 1%?
Math being hard.
What is the 1%? Frenemy. Is happy where they are, making kind of a boatload, like a good chunk of change. I was like, would really love to have you on the team. And I'm,
Mm,
of course, like super happy where I am. But for entertainment reasons, I was like,
sure.
yeah, well, what's it pay? And it is, oh, I would say upwards of like 60 grand plus bonus more than I make. And I was like, what? Like, shocking. So, of course, for a hot second, I thought about it.
Do I
And
want that
again,
life?
yeah, I am not going to go into it, obviously, but I have also known others that have been a part of this organization.
Okay.
And some have been extremely happy and some have not. So, really, the percentage of who I've known that are happy and not is pretty even. So, I'm like, oof, I don't know. But I put like real thought into it. So, the topic of this conversation before we close out this episode is money versus happiness. And they're not mutually exclusive, of course. It's not like if you have money, you're not happy, or if you're happy, you don't have money. I don't mean it like that. I mean that when you're presented with a subject like this of possibly gobs more money, but comes with things that I know either that are already laid out, like this is part of the job detail, or from past acquaintances that have
Mm-hmm.
been there. But you do toy with the idea. But if I had
Ah.
more, I would do da da da. But I not really any part of me leaned towards it, but you definitely entertain the idea. And I, reached out to my husband and my mom that know me so well, and both of them same thing. But you're so happy, and I was like, no, no, I'm not like entertaining, like going anywhere. I'm just curious. And they're like, but my mom said it perfectly. She's like, there is a lot to be said for balance and contentment, and it's I comes from a more clouded glass, I would say, from my mom. My stepdad worked his ass off, and they were going to retire around 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and then the market dumped. And he's very smart about investments, so he chose to work longer so the two of them could not work and play and retire. And he's been gone. I think it's 4 years this February. So he retired in October. They went to Hawaii. He didn't feel well, had a mass diagnosed the following March, and then died the following February. So, like, it's not easy. It's hard for her to say, yeah, work your ass off, it'll pay
Mm-hmm.
off later, when she was with someone that did that and it didn't. And I think it's food for thought and conversation that, yeah, maybe I don't make as much as this person or this colleague that was, very intriguing with a ginormous number. But there is so much to be said for the fact that I can drop my daughter off at school every day and pick her up without feeling stressed that someone's pissed off that I have to leave for half an hour at 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love my colleagues. I love my company. I love the flexibility. I'm I'm very content. Who doesn't want more money? Everybody wants more money. But all these other factors matter. But sometimes when you're presented with a bam, look at this freaking capital, possible capital, you're like, oh, I want that. You're like, no, do I? I don't want to. There's many roles. This role is either like in an office where I have to get ready every day and I would have to rearrange. I would have to get like a nanny or something if Josh is flying.
And a
That's
wardrobe.
stressful. Yeah, I have to put makeup on every day. Like, I don't wanna do that in the Dreamforce. Or if it's a consultant role where you have to travel 80%. I like to travel. I don't want to do that. Like,
I think there
I don't want any of that, but it was really interesting for a moment to think about that difference of they're not mutually exclusive, but happiness versus money or happiness and money. I'm not sure how to phrase it. You know what
No,
I
I
mean,
think
though.
it's interesting because I think it's, if anything, I think it's good to check in about it because
Mhm.
so much of it is situational, right? Like, if you were in a job you didn't like, you might even take less money to be in a job you liked more.
Sure.
If
Totally, yeah.
you, the, and I think you also like are in, not only are you in a happy place, but you're in a decent financial place, right? It's not like you're wholly underpaid, in which case then
Sure.
getting
Oh,
more money
100%.
would get you to a point. Money's a tough thing for
Right.
me because I'm pretty sure I'm underpaid, but like I'm not good at this game and I'm not the kind of person that's gonna like like pit against to get
Yeah.
like wheel
Yeah.
and deal. Like I'm not that person, but I also I mean, one of the things I'm thankful for to my ex is that he helped me realize like they already offered you the job. If you ask for more money, the worst thing they can say is no. And they will still offer you the job. Like, there's not much
Yeah.
damage you can do to your position. So, um,
No.
I, but there's also an interesting thing too about, I think this whole idea is more novel in more recent generations because people used to stay where they were. And the idea of change is different and how much things have changed in terms of office environment and even just like you
Yeah.
say work life balance and those and like really getting to the point of trusting your employees to get their shit taken care of. Like that's kind of a new thing in general, right? Of like flex hours and all this stuff, right? So
Right.
um I think it's all a mix, but like I say, I think it's important to, if anything, it's a good reason to check in. Like to me,
Yeah.
like, I was having a conversation with somebody who was like, I'm pretty sure I make X dollars more than you. And I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, well,
Oh, really?
do I want your job? Like, do I want,
Yeah.
is that enough that, like, not to be all like, brush your shoulders off, but like, as MVPs, especially, I think we get plenty of BS and or valid, um, LinkedIn job requests, right? So like, could I be a contractor and probably make more money? 100%. Do I want to do that? Not
Uh-uh.
really.
God, that sounds hard.
But even I don't even think right now in life I would want to be a consultant. I
Yeah.
I am probably, you probably get more out of me from me going to an office. Not even, I don't even feel like it's that my boss, I certainly have flexibility. Like it's not like my boss is like, why aren't you here today? What, like you are late, like at all. But that's also because I stay late and when I have a project, I'm working 12 hours a day to get it done and I will jump in whenever you need and those kind of things, so it's all a balance, I guess, is the,
And it's not I don't think it's an age thing either. I think it's a life phase
for
thing.
sure.
I mean, it could be probably a little age, but I do remember I worked bartending in restaurants for years and I loved it and I was good at it. And I remember saying, if you want to see me fail, put me behind a desk. Like I couldn't do it. I took like the first couple desk office jobs I took after waiting tables was a struggle. I came from an environment that you come in, you run your ass off, and when the rush is gone, people leave. Then you move to an environment where you are somewhere for a period of time,
Mm.
regardless if there's work. I wanted to shove pencils into my eyeballs. And then I remember, I'm sure there was a time where I was like, "Oh, I could never work at home." And now, like, I love it.
Hmm.
And, going to an office and being around other adults and humans sometimes is nice. I do. I love it when I can be on site with a client or even just seeing clients at Dreamforce. It was really energizing. But I definitely don't want to commit to um, doing that every day. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
consultancies that you actually work on site at the client, and that sounds really overwhelming to me. And I can't.
Well, and
I don't
but
want
I
to.
think
So it just depends on where you are. Like, what is your happiness
it's good that
structure
there's
or
that
level?
variety. And again, I think we're in a
Yeah.
fortunate position that we have exposure to these kinds of conversations and options potentially,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Um, but I think that there's a lot to be said for, even if it's a good job, is it a good job for you, right?
That's
Is
a good
it
point. Yeah.
like, what I would consider a good job might be different because I don't have kids, right? I don't, or because just whatever, my priorities are different, cost of living, blah blah blah, like all these things, right? That um and you might think you're in a good job and then you get a different job and you're like, "Oh, that was really dumb." Maybe that's just me with the whole like past marriage thing too, right? Like at the time it made sense, but now you're like, "Oh, that was stupid." Um so like I say, I think it's good to just take stock, and it can't hurt to consider the options. What would you do differently? What is it worth
Mhm.
it, right? Maybe the balance, maybe you do want to do it for a year so you can pay off your house, right? Like
But, like, and you're right, for some people, that might be a good change, and we've learned in this ecosystem that, unlike you said before, where if you were somewhere less than a year on a resume, oof, totally looked down upon. It's really not like that in general anymore, and especially in our ecosystem. But I'm not good with change. I think I've shared
mm,
that story before where I was like, "Change is so good. Change is so good for you. Why am I freaking out?" You hate change. I was like, "Oh my god, I do. I really do." I struggle
actually,
with it. It's a lot of, like we talked before, the first 3 months of the new job blues, and aside from all of that, to make a jump for money alone, for
mm,
me, is just not good.
hmm.
I do have a partner that can support me. So if it were finances alone and I was a single parent or whatnot, and it was like, it doesn't matter what I need this X amount, then yeah, that makes sense. But I'm in a good position where I have a partner that makes money and that can support me, has a paycheck coming in. So I can maybe make choices that make sense for us and our happiness. Josh and I have done this for a long time now. I told him when he was unhappy before he got his flight certs, I would rather you flip burgers than be this unhappy. He was so unhappy where he was. And I'm like, there's no point in being unhappy. So then you get to a position where you're like, you've been so happy and you're making decent money and you forget those things that you say to yourself. You're like, well, maybe I want the money. I'm like, well, let's remember a time where you said happiness means the most. Just because you're happy now doesn't mean you're just going to forget about the fact that you said, remember, your family and being whole and happy matters more than a dollar amount.
Well, and
It's easy to
actually,
forget that, I guess, when you're not super struggling, maybe, or something. I don't know.
have you ever read about to be fair, I didn't remember this word and I just googled it. The income satiation point. So
No.
basically, like eventually making more money honestly doesn't make you happier, right? Like the idea is that um, there's a level of income at which happiness no longer increases with more money. And of course, like I
Interesting.
think, right, there's like a satiation point, like
Is
mapping,
it a
right? So in
million?
this, so what's funny is, what's really funny is this chart in this article that I will link to has different regions, and then one of them is women, and then the other is men, which I think is funny. So women, it says 100,000. North America is 105. That in 2016 dollars. So but it's just interesting, like to think that at some point more money isn't the answer. But
Hmm.
again, totally a great position to be in to say that that's true, right?
Yeah, again, it's very a very privileged position if to be in to have these conversations. I am fully aware of that. It was just a moment where I guess I questioned what I had worked so hard for. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I worked hard to be here. I I set a goal for myself to be able to be working from home by the time Olive was in middle school. Because kids don't really need you a ton in grade school. She's got her friends. She's learning her fucking ABC. She's fine. But middle school, I feel, is harder. So that was my
She's
goal.
taking typing class. She's fucking fine.
She's fucking fine. She's playing with her Chromebook. Everything's fine. Finger painting, everything's cool. It's like constant rehab for her. She's fine.
Making those
So
snowflakes.
that was my goal. And I've been able to work from home for the past, what, 3 years? And she's 7. So you have to check in with yourself, like you said, that I wanted to get here and to not forget like that was my happiness goal, if that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that goal post can change, but my happiness goal was to be where I am. And again, with being content, I'm confused on how to be content with being content, and I'm
Mm.
gonna get there. Again, it's a very privileged place to be. I am aware of that. I'm just sharing that it's different to constantly be in a state of either entry level or striving to a point where, because there is that self-deprecating part or that mean brain ninja part of you that's like, so I just do this till I die.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Like, don't be an
Like
asshole, be
laundry.
appreciative.
Just keep
Yeah, well, and that
washing
when I
clothes
have
to
moments like
make
this
dinner
is when
every day.
yeah, I take a moment to try and write 3 things I'm grateful for in the morning, especially when I'm, like, having moments like this, because I'm not grateful for what I have. I think I'm maybe blind to how wonderful things not can be, that they are. And striving isn't like, having goals and being, ambitious is good, but it's also okay to breathe
Mm-hmm.
and be present, spend time with family and friends, snuggle on my kiddo. I started a new thing. I like 6 months ago where I taught her or I showed her the joys of the light tickle on the back to fall asleep. So
Mm.
now there'll never be a moment where I want to go to bed early or go to bed quickly. She'll be like, "Hey mama, remember my snuggles?" Yes. And I'm home. I get to do these things. So it's important that those moments where I'm feeling like this, that I remember why we moved and worked hard and did what we did to be here. And I am grateful for that. It's just also weird sometimes that, okay,
You know,
I
to
just
to
do
think that
I
you're
just
in
do
a.
this.
There was a time when you were like, I would love to make that much more money. What can I do?
Yeah. Yes.
It's
What
all
do I need to
balance,
do?
girl.
And I also think too, at least for me, and actually no, I think for anybody, if you are having a moment like this where you are like privileged and content, that I need to give back. And I've been saying this for a year. Like, I need to find that nonprofit, or I need to work with women coming out of prison. The place I worked with in LA, she said I could piggyback her 501c3 here. That's just a huge undertaking. And I'm not in a position to start a nonprofit on my own here. But I need to give back more somehow.
Okay.
And I don't know how I'm going to do that. Because, I mean, we're not doing stuff, work and life and podcasts and, planning events like we do and,
Yeah, there's always
having
reasons to
relationships,
there,
grocery
right? This
shopping.
is the joys of ADD, right? There's always reasons to and there's reasons not to at the
Hmm.
same time.
Boy, world, watch out if you and I get on medication. That's some shit right there.
Okay, so remember how we
This
said
ecosystem's going to be lit.
we were almost done because we were having technical
Yeah, I'm done.
difficulties. Then we talked for like 40 more minutes. That's fine.
That is literally our MO.
Welcome. How do you feel about favorite things in December?
I want everything scalding hot. Well, I want things at a boiling temperature all the time. Like, I have things, this about me. I like things at an ungodly temperature, soup, coffee, like really boiling, that hurts other humans, that I love because it warms up my solar plexus. It's not right. Like, here's how I am. I boiled vermicelli rice noodles for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
took them out, just strained them, put them in the bowl, mixed a little butter, a little red sauce, little seasonings. By the time I mixed them, it was too cold. I had to heat it for 45 seconds. I need it to be on fuego. But the great thing about this time of year is there are so many hot beverages, and I can say extra hot all the time, and nobody thinks I'm crazy.
That's good.
And it's
The joys
amazing.
of living where it's super cold. No, not super cold. It's normal amount of cold. Um, I think the other fun thing about this season, and by fun I mean not as fun. I won't go on too much of a rant because it's supposed to be super faves.
Ah,
Um, I feel like if anything, this is a season where like you do you. That's my Christmas time, holiday time philosophy.
yes,
If I don't think anyone is forcing you to say happy holidays. If you want to say Merry Christmas, get on. If you want to say have a
sure,
gay ass Christmas, like good for you.
yes.
Um, but I don't think anyone is trying to take away what you want to have as your traditions. But
Not actual humans. You get behind a keyboard though.
yeah, but have you honestly ever said to somebody like, "Hey, Merry Christmas," and they're like, "Actually, if you could not say that to me, like I don't practice Christian pagan holidays," and like, no, like, if you want to be more thoughtful and you know someone, like, you can be more general, but you don't. I don't think anyone's like offended if you wish them anyway. I mean, I'm sure there are people, but people, not people I know. But to that end,
Yeah.
as much as I love tradition and I love me some Kenny and Dolly Christmas, hell, I love some Mariah Carey Christmas. I've got her Christmas CD somewhere that I need to
I like
unearth.
her one song, that is it.
But
You have to unearth the CD. Just stream it. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. Go on.
no, I mean I already own it. So, Baby It's Cold
Have
Outside.
it for
I
free.
think I hope we can all agree. Like again, lovely song we can sing, but like let's acknowledge that maybe it's kind of not
It's
okay.
a little creepy.
It's a little
Hey,
again,
I'm gonna go to
I'll listen
go.
to it. I'll listen to it. I'll sing. People are waiting for me. I don't care. Um, but if you have not yet enjoyed, my super fave is the John Legend Kelly Clarkson version that just
Mm.
came out. I was gonna put a link to it, but literally just YouTube it. It's or Google it, right? John Legend, Baby It's Cold Outside. Um, it's pretty
Yay!
funny. He
I want to
basically
hear it.
like calls her an Uber, and then she's like, um, it's cold outside, and he's like, Johnny's here. It's the name's not Johnny, I forget, but it's like she's like, I don't know what I want to do. And he's like, it's up to you. Like it so anyway, even just reading the lyrics is
Aw,
pretty funny. So
I love it.
yeah, it's an interesting, again, just taking a different a different look at certain things. So
I mean,
so
let's get real. I had a conversation with a friend years and years ago about something along these lines of someone being like, "Oh, things are too PC," and I was like, if the worst trait in my friend community is that we try and be better than we were last year, great. Like,
mhm.
we don't say those things anymore because 'cause they're not okay. That song is a little freaking problematic. It wasn't then, but it is now. Can we just all agree that it's okay to try and be a better human the next year? Not because we're overly PC or we're snowflakes or we're sensitive. We're just trying to be better. We wanna be better humans to each other, and I think
Well,
it's okay.
and I think it's an interesting way to frame it, right? There's no war on Christmas, you know,
I
but
feel
like,
attacked. I feel attacked.
like it's Santa. He can be whatever color kids want him to be. He could be a she. If I want to have a black lady Santa as my Santa, then like what's it to you? I'm
Yeah,
not
because
forcing you to like
she is
my
make believe. It is a made up deity.
No, I'm just teasing.
Oh. Oh, I was like, "What happened?"
No, that was me pretending.
I'm sorry, your parents didn't tell you that Santa's not real?
No,
Great. I just ruined Christmas.
I got in trouble for telling my friend that Santa wasn't real when I was a kid.
Oh.
My mom
Oh, when you were a
accidentally
kid. I think
ruined
like last week.
my mom accidentally ruined it, and I tried to tell my friend, and they were like, "You can't do that." Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah.
I came
So
down one year and tried to help my family wrap presents, and I was like, "It's cool. I know he doesn't exist." And they're like, "Go to bed. What's wrong?" I was like 9. "It's cool. It's fine.
let
Can
there
I
be
help you wrap
magic,
presents?"
Melinda, but only for a
Oh,
male white Santa. No, I'm teasing.
okay, let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, we're going down a slippery slope of narcissism. Nope, the
Mm,
wrong word. Sarcasm, ranting, talking, never stopping. Well, if we don't talk to you again this year, we have a chance. There's like 25 days left in this year. We could
I have things to do.
possibly record again.
I'm not traveling.
Don't hold your breath, but there's a possibility.
I love you.
In the meantime, while you're holding your breath, stay witty.